Welcome, everybody. It's Brad Bernstein. It's Brad Show Live. It is April 20th and start of a new Monday. And I'm going to be answering all your immigration questions. I will also be commenting on what's going on in the world. And I hope everybody had a good weekend. And most importantly, everybody stayed safe and well and healthy. And let me start the show off by saying on Facebook, hello to Asila Enot saying, squad up, Brad, how are you? Faye Lannis, what's going on? How are you? Katie and Plunkett, squad up. Julie Gould, squad up. Deanna Moore, squad up. To Brad and everyone, thank you very much. Katie and Plunkett, how are you? Martin Allison, how are you? Squad up, Uncle Brad, how you doing? I'm doing good. If anybody noticed, my beard is getting longer and longer by the moment. And what I have decided to do in protest, this is my silent protest. I am not going to go protest on the City Hall steps because I know that we're doing this properly by social distancing. It's the only way that we're going to get rid of this coronavirus once and for all. Yes, I want to open up society too. So my protest is I'm not shaving. That is my protest. Until I get back in my office, if I have to look like a Hasidic Jew by the time this is done, so be it. But I will not shave. Uncle Brad will not be shaving until I am back in my office, and this is at least somewhat normal life. Latoya, his Forever Peterson, how are you? Rahandra Bessiar saying squad up. Junior Keith McPherson saying afternoon, Sir Brad, coming from essential worker, longtime viewer. Well, thank you very much, Junior, for being an essential worker. It is the essential workers that are literally risking their health and their life to provide essential services to us who are all quarantined, and it is the essential workers who are outside of the elderly who are getting sick very often. So please be careful, and thank you again for your service. Goldsmith Joseph has a question. We'll be back to you in a little bit. Tigo Goodis saying squad up, everybody. Carol Anderson, the Tiger. How are you? Squad up, Red. I'm doing well. How are you, Tiger? And Violet Blackwood saying squad up too. Fiona Williams giving me high five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right back at you. Lovey, how are you? Jacqueline Daly saying good evening. How are you? And Goldsmith Joseph has a question. We'll get back to you in a little bit. Let's go to YouTube. On YouTube right now, we have 41 people watching, yet only 14 people, including myself, have given a thumbs up. So please turn those gray buttons into blue. And let me say hello on YouTube. Carol, the Top Cat Tigress 2 Anderson. She is double-fisted. Sexy Sham Myers, how are you? Oliami Ambiola saying hello. Angela Rawlings, squad up. Back it up, Ricky. Backing it up as always. MJ saying, hey, Brad. Carlene. I don't know what backing it up always means, but I don't know. It sounds good to me at the second. Crochet de la Torre. She liked and shared. Thank you very much. Danielle Cadala saying hello. Vanessa Contreras. Vanessa, how are you? Miss you all. And by the way, Vanessa, hopefully we get you back on here soon and we figure it all out. We miss our Vanessa, our little Nesquik. She's not little, she's an adult, so I don't want to call her little Nesquik. She's adult Nesquik. But how are you, Vanessa? Hope all is well. I follow you on Instagram anyway, Vanessa. I see that all is well. Errol Townsend, good afternoon. Derek saying hello as well. We have 100 people watching on Facebook right now, so please on Facebook share. I'm going to be answering your immigration questions in a little bit. Jeremy Goldberg said, hi, Scruffy Uncle Brad. I am past Scruffy Uncle Brad now. I'm just hairy bear Uncle Brad or hairy Uncle Brad, or I don't know. I'm beyond Scruffy at this point, but I'm refusing to shave. That is my silent protest against coronavirus. Until, of course, they tell us that coronavirus lives in your beard, then I'll have to shave it. But right now, I've never seen anything about coronavirus living in a beard. So I'm continuing not to shave. And I'm just here by myself anyway. So what's the difference? So who's looking at me other than you on Facebook, the squad, and you on YouTube the squad. But please share this on Facebook, and you press the there's a little, I don't know, like an arrow thing. That's how you share. It's right under the comments. There's 67 comments right now. The other thing that people can do if they really want to push this case out, let me give you a little, push out our feed. Let me give you a little background into Facebook analytics, okay? So Facebook, if you write like 2 or 3 sentences in a comment, more than just hi, but something important, the analytics will see that people are making serious comments, whether it's a serious question or a serious comment about something that I am talking about. That will also push out our feed to new people, because they'll say, you know what, the people who are watching are taking this very, very seriously. So if you don't want to share, which I would appreciate if you do, but if you don't want to share, the next best thing to do besides pressing the like button on Facebook is make a very intelligent, well-informed comment, and Facebook will see that we are getting well-informed, intelligent comments, and that will also do 2 things. Number 1, it will make you look like a really smart person, and number 2, it will get our feed out to more and more people. And on YouTube, you too can make some very intelligent comments as well. You can also press that gray button and make it blue, and you can also share this by taking you, and the way to share it is if you have your own page, you can share it onto your own page, or alternatively, you can share it in your WhatsApp and send it to your friends, or you could even put yourself on status as watching Brad Show Live as a status in your WhatsApp, and put a link so people, when they see your status in WhatsApp, they can press the link and watch us as well. So all of that from the bottom of my heart would be very, very much appreciated. Meanwhile, let's see what's going on in the world here on Monday, April 20th, 2020. Right now, COVID-19, also known as coronavirus, has infected more than 2.5 million people and killed 165,000 worldwide. By the way, I wonder what people think of this, because I kind of go back and forth. What do people think about what we're naming this virus? For example, we can call it COVID-19. We can call it coronavirus. Lots of people, including Donald Trump, are calling it the Wuhan virus or the Chinese virus. Other people are saying, you know what? That's racist. We shouldn't be calling it the Wuhan virus. We shouldn't be calling it the coronavirus. But then other people who are calling it the Wuhan virus or the Chinese virus, they're saying, well, it came from Wuhan. That's how we always call viruses. Ebola came from the Ebola River. Lyme disease came from Lyme, Connecticut. So we're always naming. Zika came from, I think it's the Zika forest or something it's called. So all of these pandemics in the past, the Spanish flu came from Spain. So all of these different pandemics that happened in the past, West Nile virus came from West Nile, the West Nile. MERS, which is Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, came from the Middle East. So in the past, every pandemic, now this is a serious one that's gone around the world, every pandemic has been named after the place where it originated from. But now with Corona and Trump calling it Wuhan virus or Chinese virus, people are now saying that's not right. And there's arguments on both sides. One could say, well, every time we've ever had a pandemic, we've always called the pandemic from where it started. So we're just saying the truth. It started in China. It started in Wuhan. What's so terrible about that? And other people are saying, well, you know what? That's racist, because now when you say you're calling it the Wuhan virus, you're calling it the Chinese virus, what you're saying is now you're stereotyping people like somebody who's from Chinese descent, who maybe has nothing to do with Wuhan, would never step foot in Wuhan ever in their entire life. All of a sudden now, they have the stigma that they caused this virus. Maybe they were born in America. They've never even been to China, but they look Asian. They look Chinese. Or maybe they are Chinese. And that's not fair. And other people say, well, you know what? We've been calling it like this all the time. And in reply, you know what people say? But now you're causing more hate crime. You're causing hate crime against Chinese citizens, and they had nothing to do with this. Maybe it was the Chinese government, but the Chinese citizen here in America has nothing to do with it. And just because you called it MERS or the Spanish flu or Lyme disease doesn't mean it was right to call it back then. Maybe they've been wrong in saying and calling West Nile virus. Maybe we've been wrong in naming it after the place the whole entire time. I don't know. I don't know the answer, because they both have valid statements. But I think my opinion, and I'm curious what other people think, my opinion is, though, that once you're using it, and it's going to cause a derogatory opinion or negative energy or negative effects on a group of people, or makes a group of people feel bad, then even though we've called West Nile virus West Nile in the past, or MERS, maybe people who lived on the West Nile didn't seem to care as much. Or maybe it just wasn't thought of as derogatory, but now it is. But when you're hurting people and you're causing, this is my opinion, this is Uncle Brad's opinion, you're causing people to have negative stereotypes put on them, and you're causing violence against people of Asian descent simply because they're Asian, then we shouldn't be calling it West Nile. We shouldn't be calling it Wuhan virus or Chinese virus, because you're causing a bigger problem in society. So just because we've called it always in the past that way doesn't mean you necessarily now have to be calling it the same now. And as certainly on Facebook, Ronaldo Roberts, I see, says we need to focus on saving lives now, not the name of the virus. Yes, I agree. We need to focus on saving lives, but unfortunately, this is what's going on. This is the conversation. What's going on social media right now. I tend to lean. I understand both arguments, but I tend to lean to we shouldn't be calling it Wuhan virus or Chinese virus simply because it's offensive to people today. Maybe it wasn't offensive 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 50 years ago when we called it West Nile, but it's offensive today, and it puts negative stereotypes on people. So it doesn't matter what happened in the past. We're worried about the present. That's my opinion, by the way. Let's go back and see what else is happening in the world, of what else could be happening in the world other than coronavirus. I mean, I was just telling Jilly Bean, remember the good old days, like 90 days ago, when we thought, when there was an impeachment and we were thought the world was coming to an end with the impeachment? Boy, wouldn't we love to go back to that, right? That was tame compared to what's going on right now. And I don't understand, there's something about this negative energy. I've been reading a lot about energy these days. There's something about this negative energy that's coming from the White House, this orange guy in the White House. Since he's been elected, we have gone from one crisis and one disaster to the next. There has never been a day since this man has been elected, think about it, and it's culminating now with this coronavirus. There has never been a day since this man has been elected where we were able to walk around and say, what a calm day that's going on in the world. It has been mass chaos since this guy has been elected. I'm not saying he caused the coronavirus. I'm just saying there's been a lot of negative energy in this world since this man has been elected. Meanwhile, Governor Cuomo, he's recommending, and I agree with this, he's recommending a 50% hazard pay for frontline workers as the death toll, at least in New York, is on the downward spiral, on the downward curve. We had less than 500 people die in New York yesterday. Now that's 500 too many people, but it's better than the 700 that was happening just a couple of days ago. I don't know how we're going to pay this 50% hazard pay, additional hazard pay. So they want time and a half, basically, for each hour a frontline worker is working, and I agree with that 100%. How is this all going to be paid? I have no idea, but generally, yes, I agree with it. Now, New York City, de Blasio you know, if you live in Manhattan, you know, every Sunday on Fifth Avenue, there's a parade over the summer. Whether it's, it starts with St. Patrick's, then there's Puerto Rican Day, Dominican Day, Israel Day. Almost every group has a day that they parade down Fifth Avenue. Well, for the month of June, unfortunately, we're going to have no parades. Mayor de Blasio is canceling all non-essential events, including parades, Puerto Rican Day, Israel Day, all canceled. He says that they will be rescheduled for later this year. We'll see what happens. Now, meanwhile, protesters, and we cover all of these events. We cover these events all of the time. If you've ever watched Bradshaw Live, we're at the Puerto Rican Day Parade. We're at the Dominican Day Parade. We're at the Israel Day Parade because we are a show about diversity and celebrating diversity. And there's no better way to celebrate diversity than celebrating each group's contribution to the United States of America. Meanwhile, there are some people who are protesting the stay-in-place order. Now, I will have to say, nobody likes staying in their home. There's not a human being I know that enjoys staying in their home. But carrying signs and not social distancing and screaming and yelling, freedom over fear, shut down the shutdown, that's not helping anybody. All it's doing is causing us to stay home longer because you are all not social distancing and you are all causing more misery. We all agree with you in concept. Nobody wants to stay home. We all want to go back to work. But we want to go back to work and have a freedom from fear of getting infected by you, the person who is protesting and not social distancing. In Denver, healthcare workers actually stood in opposition to protesters who demanded a stay-at-home order. And God bless these healthcare workers. They're the ones who are putting their lives on the line to help people who are sick. And now these protesters go and don't social distance and scream and yell. They're the ones who are going to be sick. They're the ones who these healthcare workers now have to put their life on the line. So I find it to be extraordinarily selfish, these protesters. Donald Trump, for political reasons, because everything with Trump is political. Donald Trump, for political reasons, is encouraging these protests because he has to make sure that he gets reelected again. And he does not get reelected again unless people in Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, Minnesota, North Carolina, Utah, Colorado, Washington State, unless they all come out, all of these very right-wing Republicans come out, get out the vote for right-wing Republicans to push those states over the top for Trump. So he needs those people. If he loses those people, he loses the election. So he's saying to himself, you know what? I know if I don't get elected, the Democrats are going to investigate the hell out of me. I'm going to end up going to jail, perhaps. So the last thing I want to do is go to jail. So you know what? More people die of corona. So what? I have to be president again for another 4 years. Absolutely. What must be going through this man's mind right now? Now he's fueling the protests. He tweeted, "Liberate Michigan, liberate Minnesota, liberate Virginia." Just hours after he sits with these professionals who come on to his daily coronavirus task force press conferences to talk about social distancing, staying away from each other. We have to flatten the curve. And then 2 hours later, liberate Michigan, liberate Minnesota. So now most governors, have strong public health restrictions in place and likely want to continue to hold the line for some time to come. And this was a position even Trump publicly supported as of last Thursday. Then over the weekend, he started making some political calculations and started tweeting, "Liberate the states." So these liberate the states, that gave the okay for these protesters to come out and protest in capitals and protest next to each other and not social distance. And you want to know what's going to happen? It is now causing us, I guarantee you, to now be quarantined longer. They are actually causing more problems than helping. The only person they're helping is Trump because Trump's getting his vote out. Trump is getting his vote out by doing this. So that's an unfortunate situation. Now, the biggest problem with reopening America, with reopening the world, is testing. We have to know two things. Number one, we have to know if somebody is sick, and we have to know if they have the coronavirus, and we have to know it in a fast period of time. So we have to have the ability to test somebody and give a result within minutes. You have corona, you don't have corona. So if you have corona, you know you have to quarantine yourself. If you don't have corona, you know you can go about your day. The other thing we have to be able to do is test for people with antibodies. Why? Because the presumption is, although it has not been proven scientifically, but the presumption is that coronavirus acts like the flu virus, that if you got corona this year, you won't get it again until next year. So now you have immunity. If you know you have immunity, you know you can walk around and not infect anybody, and you know you can go back to work. Once we are able to do this on a widespread basis, and only until then, will we be able to get back to a normal life, not only in America, not only in Europe, not only in third world countries, in South America, not only in Africa, Middle East, around the entire world. Now, speaking after Vice President Pence yesterday, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the federal government's top infectious disease expert, said that existing capacity for testing nationwide can be utilized, but used the future tense when discussing the potential for states to scale back social distancing. New estimates by researchers at Harvard University released Friday suggest the United States cannot safely reopen until we start testing at 3 times the rate we are doing as of today. Right now, as of today, there are 164,000 tests being conducted every day in the United States. And according to these Harvard scientists, which is who I believe Dr. Fauci is following, we need to ramp it up to 500 to 700,000 per day. One of the biggest problems with testing is not that we don't have enough tests. We don't have enough cotton swabs to run the tests. We have the test kit that you can put the cotton swab in. We don't have the cotton swabs. So yesterday, Donald Trump announced that he plans to use the Defense Production Act to increase the nation's swab production by at least 20 million per month. When will that happen? When will that 20 million per month happen? I don't know. But as soon as it does happen, and as soon as they ramp up the tests, that's when we will get out of our homes. That's when we will get out of our apartments. Protesting on the steps of Capitol Hill is not helping. It is hurting. And trust me, you protesters, we all want out. We all want out. Meanwhile, one of the consequences of all of this stay-at-home stuff, quarantining, is that the environment's getting better because nobody's burning any fuel. Nobody's burning any oil. Well, there's so much oil now on the market that oil companies are now paralyzed because they have nowhere to store the oil anymore. They have run out of places in which to store oil. They pump it out of the ground and they have nowhere to put it. It is at such a point now that as of today, for the first time in history, to buy oil is negative zero. Negative as of today. Do you know what that means? That means the oil companies and the crude producers who are pumping the oil out of the ground are not taking 1 penny to give the oil away. They are actually giving it to you, or whoever's buying it, and will give you money to take it from them because there's such a glut. They have nowhere to store this oil. Can you imagine the day when oil companies are paying people to, here, take my crude oil, and here's a check for you as well. Thank you for taking it off my hands. That's literally what's happening today in our economy. So U.S. policymakers, they've for decades have focused their policies on ensuring oil supply shocks that damage the U.S. economy like the 1970s. If anybody was around in the 1970s, I was a child at the time. I remember there was an oil shortage because that's when OPEC was formed, and people with the number 1 on their car license plate had to go buy gas Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and if you had an even number, it was Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Nobody could buy gas. and they created this national reserve to backstop. Now we have more gas than anybody ever thought in a million years. And it's now a problem when we are selling oil for negative dollars. The other problem that we're having right now, which is a problem that was caused by the Trump administration, is how they administered this Paycheck Protection Program. This is the program, and by the way, we're going to get to immigration questions in a few minutes. So much going on in the world. This was a program that was put into place to help small businesses pay their employees. Well, what's happened is that the banks, they're only making money from these loans if they're doing the $10 million loan. If they're doing a $500,000 loan or a $1 million loan, they're not making any money. Now, the loans are based on the number of employees in a business. So who's getting the loans? The biggest companies in America are getting the loans. Who got screwed from getting loans? All the small mom and pop shops. So this Paycheck Protection Program was a big fraud as far as protecting Main Street. Because when it was passed, they said, we're going to protect Main Street. But instead, they protected the fat cats. The companies with the biggest payrolls got the money. As a result, today, Chase Bank, Wells Fargo Bank have been sued. They've been sued because they were basically not taking any loans from small companies. It was supposed to be done on a first come, first served basis. And the loans that were taken from the small companies were not submitted to the SBA. The only loans that were submitted were huge company loans, including the Potbelly Sandwich Shop, Shake Shack, Taco Cabana, Fiesta Restaurant Group, Kura Sushi, all of these, Ruth Chris Steakhouse, J. Alexander's Restaurant Chain, Hallador Energy. All of these companies got $10 million loans. The mom and pop stores, they got nothing. So now Shake Shack, when they realize that this happened, at least give Shake Shack a little bravo, because they are now returning the money. The reason they are returning the money, is because they have $100 million in the bank. They don't need Paycheck Protection Program. Who needs it? The small mom and pop companies that don't have enough money in the bank, to deal with their payroll on a day-to-day basis. With that said, folks, we do have to get to our immigration questions. This is an immigration show. Now is the time. If you are on Facebook, there is, right below the 159 comments, a share button. What I would like you to do, all 180 people who are watching this show right now, is share this to your timeline. Let everybody know this show exists. What I'd like you to also do, which would do me a fabulous favor, as well as your friends a fabulous favor, is you start a watch party. Why do you start a watch party? So your friends can ask their immigration questions too. We want to help as many people as we can. And finally, if you don't want to start a watch party, you don't want to share this to your friends and family, what you can do, because I'm going to give you the background on Facebook algorithms, like I told you before. Make a very informed, intelligent comment, even if you don't have a question. If you have a question, make your intelligent question. If you don't have a question, make a very informed comment about what you're hearing, what you're listening, and join the conversation. Why? Because if you make informed, intelligent comments, the Facebook algorithm will see that people are engaged in this show, and they are going to send this out to more and more people to watch. If your comment is, "Hey, Brad, looking good, Scruffy," that's not such an intelligent comment, although I appreciate the comments. Trust me, my ego is very pleased with that. But if you can make an intelligent comment about the things that we're talking about right now, and you can do it in 2 or 3 or 4 sentences, that would also increase our viewership. Now on Facebook, guys, this is what you need to do. Okay. Right now we have 105 people watching on Facebook, but only 56 people. Press that gray button. There's a gray button. You take your thumb and you turn it blue. If you can take your thumb, if you are using a touchpad, and press the button, or you can take your mouse and click over it. Either way, turn that gray button blue. The other thing you can do also make intelligent comments. Why? Because you want to look smart. Everybody likes to look smart. Make an intelligent comment. Everyone in the Brad Squad, trust me, who has watched the show long enough, you all have smart things to say. You all know everything. I've answered every question. You all know them already. So you can all be smart now. And number two, you can share this in your WhatsApp. How you do that? You copy it. There's a button right next to the blue button that gray button, thumbs up, that I asked you to press. And if you press that share button, it will give you an opportunity to share this to Facebook, to Tumblr, to any social media thing you want. Or you can just copy and paste the link and send it on WhatsApp. Or you can even start a status on WhatsApp and say, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm watching Brad Show live. Here's the link. Ask your question. He's live right now. And with that, folks, it's time to check in to some social media check-in. Let's see what we got. All right, so our first question comes from Bay Uama. Let's see. Oh, nope, he's just Bay. Okay, Bay's was just commenting. Linda Shaw. Oh, Linda Shaw's question just disappeared. Linda Shaw, ask it again. Rita Lagman. Good afternoon, Mr. Bernstein. This is Lagman. Immigration is still processing people with priority dates. How about if my priority date got current? If your priority date is current and you are in the United States and you're eligible to adjust your status, you can file your adjustment of status. If you're in another country, you got to wait for the embassies to reopen, but certainly you can still be processing those cases. Nicole Headley, and by the way, I've lost a few of your questions, so if your question was before Nicole Headley in the comments, please ask it again. Nicole Headley says, hi, Brad, I'm living in Jamaica. I travel on the work program in 2018, and I received stimulus money. Can I get in any trouble for it? Well, you're not supposed to get it, so keep quiet. You're just really not supposed to get it, but if you got it, congratulations. I wouldn't be announcing it to the world. Sunil Chandra, can I marry a person from another country if I am a lawful permanent resident? Resident since 2002. I will also be applying for citizenship next month. How long will it take for my spouse to come to the USA? Any suggestion? Yes, you can marry someone from another country. I don't know how you're going to want to get to that country at the moment to marry them because all of our borders are closed. But once the border is open, then yes, you can marry that person. You would have to go there and marry your fiance, come back, file an I-130. It will take about 2 years. I would also suggest, Sunil, that since you've been a resident since 2002, that you file for your citizenship, because we don't know when you're going to be able to go marry this person. And once you're a citizen, A, it'll be faster, and B, if you can't make it to that country where your fiance is and you're a citizen, you could always do a fiance visa to bring them here to marry you here. So I would start your citizenship immediately in the meantime. And Bay Wama says, Brad, thanks for speaking about current events. We can discuss various things and be well-rounded. Absolutely, Bay. Jorge Rafael Nunez. I did an expedite for my husband 14 days ago and got accepted. I have not received a response for the waiver I-601. How much longer does it take for USCIS? The waiver for the I-601 usually takes about a year, about 6 to 12 months. I'm not sure if you're talking about a provisional waiver here in America or your husband went to the U.S. Embassy for their visa and they got denied and you need to do a 601. So it depends. But either way, USCIS is taking 6 to 12 months on that. Bayuama, by the way, Brad, do you guys do referrals to other law firms, non-immigration related? No, we don't. Let's see who else we got here. Bayuama with lots of questions. Kennedy sang, hi, Brad. If I got approved for VAWA, then file an adjustment after approval to a U.S. citizen spouse, how long before I get my green card? About 6 to 9 months. Abudu Jimo. Hi, Brad. Will the priority date retrogression affect F4 family immigrants visa on administrative processing before adjudication by the consular officer? Yes, it will. Clayton Trowers. If my wife applies for food stamps, would it affect my immigration interview? Yes, it will, because food stamps is government assistance. Khan Ali. Can my mother file asylum case on behalf of my father? My father passed a deadline of 1 year, and my mother is filing within 1 year. Does it affect my mother's case as well? As long as your mother files within 1 year and she gets approved, your father would be included on that case as a derivative because the marriage happened before she filed for the asylum. Abza Awan. If the waiver I-601 is denied once, can you file it again? You can keep filing until it gets approved. Danny Bay. If you got your work authorization at the beginning of the year and now you're unable to work due to coronavirus, do you think it's wise to apply for unemployment? It doesn't hurt to apply for unemployment. I don't know whether you would get it or not. I was always under the impression that each particular state does not give unemployment unless you can prove you're a resident or a citizen. But I've been told recently by people, and this is just through word of mouth, that they have been getting unemployment despite the fact that they don't have a green card. So if you can, wonderful, go do it. Goldsmith Joseph. I only have a tax transcript for 2019 and can't get the transcripts for 2017, 2018. Could I send the affidavit of support with the 2019 and the stated total income for 2017 and 2018? You can do an I-864 easy. And if you do the I-864 easy form, you only have to submit the 2019. So that's how I would handle it at the moment. Merlinda Malcolm says, hi, Brad. My I-130 for my married child was approved. What is the next step? Wait a long time because the priority dates are at least 10, 15 years backed up. It depends when, Merlinda, you filed for your child. The case, presumably your child's in another country with his spouse or her spouse and their children. So I'm sure they will be transferred to the National Visa Center, and eventually you will hear from the National Visa Center. Awali says, hi, Brad. My I-45 is ready to be scheduled for an interview. It's been 9 months now, and nothing has been done as per my I-765. Can I do a request, or what do I do? If your I-765 is going to be up in the next 3 to 4 months, refile for a new I-765. There's nothing to do right now on the I-45 interview. Everything's closed in immigration until we reopen America. Mark Mahaber. Hi, Uncle Brad. So USCIS messaged me on 17th of April that they reopened my case, and today I got notification from USCIS that they approve it. So is this normal? No, but I'm happy for you that your case is reopened and approved. Congratulations. Rose Hines. Hi, Brad. God bless you. My husband is a U.S. citizen. If I got pregnant and I get Medicare help, will it cause a problem for me and my 16-year-old daughter, who is not his biological daughter? Would it be a problem? No, because the Medicare help is for the unborn child, and you're allowed to get it. It will not cause a problem. You would have to get off of it 1 month after you give birth, and it will not be a problem. Goldsmith Joseph, when doing an adjustment of status, do we need a birth certificate for both the petitioner and the applicant? Yes. Vanessa Etheridge, hi, I'm a pending I-485 marriage based on, I don't know what, and I need to renew my I-765 since it'll expire in September. The question is, do I renew ASAP now in May with my current passport? Yes, renew now. By the way, folks, if I don't get to your question or you have a serious problem, the best thing to do is call my office. The telephone number is 1-800-529-5465. If you call my office at 1-800-529-5465 or international at 212-227-8933. You can call to get on my list. I have a list I get every day. You can get on Uncle Brad's list, and I will give you a telephone call tomorrow. If you are somebody I've never spoken to before, well, then you would need to schedule a consultation. And then I will call you anywhere in the world. Whether you're in the United States, in California, Florida, or anywhere in the world, I will give you a call. If you are somewhere else in New York, in Queens, I will call you. You will be on Uncle Brad's list, and you'll get a call. You schedule a consultation. If you're an old client or an existing client, call my office, 1-800-529-5465. I will also call you tomorrow or on Wednesday, whenever you schedule it. You have to get on to speak to me. You got to get on Uncle Brad's list. And that's 1-800-529-5465. Vanessa Etheridge on Facebook. And by the way, YouTube, I didn't forget you. We're coming there in a minute. Hi, I'm pending I-45 marriage. Oh, I answered that question. Let's go to the next one. Mohammed Bansi. Can I send an invitation for my parents being a resident? You can do whatever you want, but whether they get their visa or not will depend on whether they have enough ties to come very home. Kiara Smith with the pre-comment of the day. A very informative program. Thank you very much, Kiara. All right, let's go to YouTube. And on YouTube, Derek has a question. Says, hello, Brad. I plan on renewing my 10-year green card. Can I apply now with no employment due to COVID crisis? Yes, you can. Let's see what else we got. Ken Kibbett. Hi, Brad. What's the difference with filing for VAWA concurrently with the adjustment and waiting to file for the adjustment later? The difference is waiting about 2.5 years for your green card, because if you file it concurrently, you can get the VAWA approved and the adjustment approved concurrently versus filing a VAWA, waiting 2.5 years to get approved, and then filing an adjustment, and then waiting another 1.5 years to get approved. Vanessa Contreras, she's still here, and she's telling people to share. Way to go, Nesquik. Jackie Harris, digging the beard. Keep it up. As I told you, Jackie, until we're out of quarantine, the beard is being kept up. The day I leave quarantine, I'm going to the barber and getting a shave. Ken Kibbett also wants to know, how long does it take to get a green card through VAWA after filing an adjustment? About 6 to 9 months. Let's see. Wasi Inu is the Social Security office working remotely. As far as I understand, they are. Who else we got? Shamia Duar. Hello, Brad. Keep up the good work. Thumbs up. Thank you very much. My question is, I filed my I-360 and my I-765 on March 14th, and they just sent me a prima facie determination. Does that mean I'm on the right track? It does. What a prima facie determination means is that somebody looked at your case very quickly, and they determined that your case has some meat to it, and there's a likely chance of getting approved, although it's not an approval, and therefore they're going to allow you to collect government benefits. So that is a good sign. Lasser Homespa. Can a writ of mandamus have a negative result on your I-45 green card decision? My case has been processing for over 24 months. Interview was almost 8 months ago, and I-130 is approved. Yes, it can. And this is how a writ of mandamus can have a negative effect. It can have a negative effect if you have a case that should be denied. What a writ of mandamus does is a writ of mandamus asks a federal judge to force the U.S. government to make a decision on your case. A writ of mandamus does not ask a federal judge to approve your case. So after a federal judge forces the U.S. government to make a decision on your case, if your case should be is an approvable case, then you'll get a green card. But if your case is something other than approvable, then you'll be denied. So you only file writ of mandamus in cases that are perfect. That's why you need a lawyer. Dev Vey. Good to see you again, Brad. Again, will there be some type of status will be given to us in November for DACA? I don't know what's going to happen with DACA. It's right now before the Supreme Court of the United States of America. They are supposed to make a decision in June. What will happen with that decision, I don't know. Maybe they will continue DACA in its present form. Maybe they will allow Donald Trump to end the program. If Donald Trump ends the program, there will be a crisis for those who are in DACA. 800,000 or 1.2 million, whatever the number is, of DACA recipients will now be potentially deportable. These are people who came here as minors, as little children. And then that crisis will probably necessitate some form of resolution to DACA, I would assume. But we won't know anything till we see what happens with the Supreme Court decision come June. Leslie Benoit. My friend filed for asylum in 2014. The case was administratively closed. Can he still be eligible to have a work permit? He's married to a U.S. citizen. Can he just file for adjustment? If he made a legal entry into America, he has to file the I-130, get it approved, then make a motion to the judge to reopen his deportation case, to terminate it so that he can file for his adjustment. There is a process to go through. It's not as simple, just file the adjustment. Rayin Pereira. Hello. My husband and I are waiting for an interview for the green card. We both work and have work permits. Is it possible to take unemployment? Is this going to cause any negative point in the interview? Well, it depends on what basis are you getting the green card. If it's an employment-based case and you get collecting unemployment, then you don't have any job to apply, that you don't have any job to be going to. If it's a situation where it's asylum, yes. I'm not sure what the basis is for your adjustment, so I would need to know more about that. And again, I'm not going to get to everybody's question today. I wish I could. There's like a million questions. If I don't answer your question, you could always drop me a DM on my Instagram at RealBradBernstein. If you follow me at RealBradBernstein, and I know who you are, you look familiar to me, you can drop me a DM, and I'll be happy to answer your question as best as I can or tell you to make a consultation. You can also follow us at Brad Show Live on Instagram. If you follow us at Brad Show Live on Instagram, you'll see all the best of our shows. You'll see all million videos of me answering immigration questions, as well as some behind the scenes, although we don't have a lot of behind the scenes right now, simply because we're all home. You'll also be able to enter our free consultation to get a free consultation with me. The free consultation has a value of $200, and I will do it absolutely free. All you got to do is like the post that says win a free consultation with me and tag 5 of your friends. And on Wednesday, I may pull your name out of Uncle Brad's old scruffy hat. To get on my schedule for tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, all you need to do is call 1-800-529-5465. You call and make a consultation, or if you're an older existing client, whatever it is, you will get on my schedule. I will call you, and we will speak one-on-one in a private, confidential conversation. BB has a question on YouTube. As a filing fee up to my, as a FF up to my QXN. I have no idea what that means. My hubby is Nigerian, and our interview is 9 months ago. We were separated and grilled. Our answers matched, but no reply to date. They said background check, then pending final decision. Then what you need to do is contact me, and maybe if all your questions matched up, we would need to start threatening to do a mandamus. 29 Super C, he's just, or she is just tagging lots and lots of people. Claudette Brown, good evening, Uncle Brad. If you lost your green card and it's expired, what's the next step, please? Thanks, blessing. File an I-90 to replace it, or file for your citizenship, or do both. Never give up. I like that. Says, hello, Brad. I want to say thank you for a great response to all the questions. I have an I-130 approved, but my I-45 and I-765 is still pending, and it's over 8 months now. I really need my EAD to work. I don't know what you did wrong, but you may want to get on my list tomorrow. Call 1-800-529-5465. Original Victorious on YouTube says, hi, Brad. My aunt went on vacation but spent 9 months instead of 6 months, and she's back home. Can she still travel? No. Her visa's been expired. She needs to go back and get a new visa, and she's going to have a big problem doing it. Diane Wright. Hi, Brad. I paid for my green card November 30th. I came from Jamaica January 15th, and I haven't received the green card yet. Is this a normal thing? It is not a normal thing. You should have gotten it by now. I would give immigration a call. Diane Wright with a question. Hi, Brad. I paid for my green card November 30th and came from Jamaica January 15th, and I haven't received the call. Oh, that's the same question again. She asked twice. Ahmed Miran. If a lawful permanent resident lives outside the United States more than 6 months because he has a bona fide student at university, can he still get, I lost your question. Let's see what happened to it. You just retracted the question as I was asking it. The man retracted it as I was asking it. All right, there it is. Going back to Facebook, Rose Delva has a question. Hi, Brad. My 10-year resident card is expired, but I applied for citizenship, and my case will be completed in about 2 months. Hopefully. Do I have to renew my resident card or wait to be sworn in unless you need your resident card? Why pay the money? Raleen Ramos, can I still apply for a green card even if I have a third-degree assault? I am married to a U.S. citizen. Yes, you may or may not need a waiver depending on what the sentencing was for that third-degree assault. Third-degree assault can be a petty offense. It could be a crime of moral turpitude. It could be an aggravated felony depending on what the sentence was. So we would need to know. Thapu Sara has a question. Hello, sir. Can a misdemeanor C charge deny a green card through marriage? Depends, again, what is the misdemeanor for? Abigail Turner, can I personally represent someone in Atlanta during an interview? My office will absolutely fly to Atlanta. It won't be me personally, but my office will. Jermaine Brown, granted asylum, want to join the military. You can't join the military until you get a green card. Once you get the green card, I think you can do it. Joining the military will give you your citizenship 1 year after you join, presumably after you have a green card. Khan Ali, on what ground does asylum get approved if my asylum approved in meantime? I got married to a U.S. citizen. Do I have to go back to my home country? Depends on how you came to America. If you came without inspection and your asylum was approved, you're better off to complete your asylum case because you'll get your green card in America. You can't go back to your home country regardless based on a marriage case because then you would have committed fraud. In one application, you said you're terrified to go back. You're going to get killed. And on another application, you said, hey, I'm going back to my home country to pick up my green card. So that don't jive. Ahmed Abdullah. My wife is in the U.S. I'm in London now. Could I do home buy paperwork online from London? You can do paperwork from London if you want, but if you want to have a consultation with me, you absolutely can. There's a question here that's coming on my phone. I need to renew my I-765. It expires in September, and the earliest I can file for renewal is May. My current passport expires in August. Do I file for renewal in May with my current passport or wait to the new one? No, file now. There's the answer. All right, let me go back to my feed there. Abigail Turner. How do they determine the number in a family using the affidavit support? Is it a family of 5 and the sponsor of affidavit support has his own family of 3 and that will be calculated as a family of 8? Correct. That is exactly how they calculate it. Atiri, Cynthia. So Brad, how can one overcome the travel ban in Nigeria for green card applications for kids after the epidemic? Can we get a lawyer to assist in defending the case during the interview? Will a letter from a lawyer suffice? I don't know the answer to that right now because there is a travel ban on Nigeria. And me writing a letter is not going to make one iota of a difference. But maybe have a consultation with me and we can brainstorm what we can do. Last question of the day. All right, we'll ask a couple more. Ahmed Maran. If the LPR person lives outside the U.S. for more than 6 months because he's a bona fide student at a university, can he still get approved for naturalization? No. In order to become a citizen, let me tell you what the rules are for citizenship. You have to be in the United States for 30 out of 60 months. No trip abroad for more than 6 months unless you can show that you had enough ties to America and you have to be living in the state where you're supposed to be living for at least 90 days. And that, folks, oh, one more, and then I'll say goodbye. Antonio Tondro, is it common for an I-130 to be denied if your removal order while trying to adjust your status? It's common for an I-130 to be denied if you aren't able to prove a bona fide marriage, but not because you have a removal order. Maganoba, quick question. If submitting all immigration applications at once as far as documentation, should each requisite for documentation be done separately? Submit everything in one package. Nubia Sprouse, my daughter was denied twice for a tourist visa. I'm sorry to hear that, but if you want to have a consultation with me, you can. And finally, we have more on Facebook now. Mama Beato. When will immigration open up for in-person interviews? They say sometime after May 3rd. Let's hope. Demore Romed. This is the comment of the day that I've noticed so far, and thank you very much, Demore. I would like to mention today and publicly, because he's mentioning it publicly, that because I've watched the show, myself and many others have benefited tremendously from the knowledge and expertise of one of the greatest immigration lawyers on this earth. We, the squad, are in a better place because of Brad Bernstein. Thank you. And Demore, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That is our comment of the day. And this is Bradshaw Live Pandemic Quarantine Edition, April 20th, 2020. We will all be safe. We will all social distance. We will all get through this together. And in the meantime, I wish everybody health and happiness and blessings. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart to everyone who watches my show, to those who are part of the squad, and to those who are around the world who don't even know that I exist. I wish it on everybody. Okay, and I wish that none of this ever has to happen again. It's a horrible experience we're all going through. All we can do is have the courage to wake up and fight through this day in, day out. And I will see you all tomorrow. I do have to remind everybody that prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. But if you need to get on my list to call me, you give me a call. The telephone number is 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. I've been saying goodbye in French. Today I will say goodbye in Spanish. Until tomorrow, adios.